Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Ledger. I'm Cage. That's Chair. We're nerds.
Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk
Woo.
about things. We give commentary that nobody asked for, but we're doing it anyway.
Hey,
We want to get rich, guys. We want to get rich. We want to sell T-shirts. We want to buy packs of T-shirts for $10, and then get a printer, and then print those T-shirts, and then sell them at $40, and make oodles of money, and move into a big content house, and then like hang out with underage girls and start some kind of fucking like weird sex thing, and then just fucking everything falls apart, and then we're on the news and shit, and then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
well, some.
Yeah, that seems like the full YouTube, Twitch like star like just cycle. That just seems like what it is.
Yeah.
So, yep.
I don't know what's happening, but when you talk, it's like encoding poorly. So there's like a little bit of lag, and then it's like an underline of fuzz that's just like repeating. It's weird.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I don't know. Did you
Hey,
start up
oh,
your computer or
hey,
something?
hey, I restarted my computer already.
Oh, well,
It's
could
fine
be an issue.
sometimes and bad other times.
Like I said, next time I'm at your place, I really need to look at your computer and just maybe there's some shit on there that shouldn't be on there that like it's like with the problem with pre-built PCs is they install a bunch of shit, right? And then it updates itself in the background and like yeah, you gotta and like people pay to have their shit installed on that computer, right? Like that's why they do it. And yeah, so maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. Anyway, yeah, the my computer's dog shit. If you guys didn't know, today we're gonna talk about the Penguin. You watched the first two episodes, right?
Yes, I'm actually up to episode 6 right now. I've been watching it with Rio. Who's probably busy at work, so she can't tune into this. But yeah, I've been watching it with Rio, and it's just a fantastic series. It's pretty good so far. Have you been enjoying your time, or have you been not liking it?
No, I watched the first two episodes, but yeah, no. When you talk, sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's like, you know, yeah. It's
Yeah,
what's happening with this
it's not.
encoding? Don't know
Yeah, I
what's
don't know.
happening.
I don't either. I didn't even get out of bed this morning. I'm just kidding, guys. I got out of bed to be here.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I only watched the first two episodes.
Mm.
Because I've been doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'll keep watching. But we'll talk about the first two episodes. And then there's like some kind of news. Some nerdy news stuff out there. You know what I'm saying? When I'm what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, So there's like a couple random things. But then also today, I think it was today, they released a trailer for that Secret Levels game or whatever, not game, TV show
The
that
Amazon
Amazon's
series
doing,
based on video
the
games.
video game
Yeah. I
thingamabob.
haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm
Yeah.
sure I'll check it out soon. I'm a gamer, so I'm obviously gonna watch it. So like, it's already known that I'm gonna watch it. So there's no point for me to watch it other than just hype myself up and then be disappointed. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it will be disappointing. I think they put a bunch of money into it and it's gonna not be very good.
What
It's
the?
like
I don't know.
like some of the games they're picking are not like
The hard to
popular
make
games.
a show off of.
Uh, well, like most of the games that are in there, I've heard of, and then like
Mm.
they're doing like Concord, and like that game has like 3 active players.
Concord. No, it got taken down. It's no longer. It's no longer active. It's no longer a thing. Um,
Well,
Concord.
well,
Concord. Yeah,
it's part of
Concord was.
Amazon's.
Yeah, if it's part of their show, that's pretty funny, but it is what it is. Concord was just like this huge commercial flop. It's really interesting the story of it because they pumped a lot of money into Concord, right? Like I think it was like EA or something like that. And when it came,
Uh huh.
here's the thing though, was like everyone came out and like it wasn't bad, but it was just not anything new, so it just died out like every other like wannabe hero shooter, right? It's like okay, guys, we need to make a competitor to Overwatch, and then like we'll take 10 years about it. I'm sure the scene won't change in this time. And then a little game called PUBG came out. Maybe you heard of that one. Maybe you remember PUBG. And then Fortnite,
Yeah,
a game
everyone
which was
everyone knows
originally
that
as
one.
Yeah, everybody knows Fortnite because it was just originally when it released. I played OG Fortnite, right? It's actually kind of a fun game where you like build a fort and you fight off zombies. But then they made a battle royale mode, which is much more like the one on Arma 3 than anything, the King of the Hill. And then the rest is history. Then Fortnite became one of the most popular video games ever made in like human history ever, and it's like just has huge brand appeal. And now it's like got Lego Fortnite, and it's got like whole concerts are done in the game, and like there's events with like movie tie-ins and stuff like that. And it's just hyper valuable commercial property. Um, and it's yeah, video games, man, and so video games are popular. And then but Conquered again, like they try to make a hero shooter in like the shadow of Fortnite, right? Like who wants to play new hero shooters now? Like nobody, except for the one that Valve came out, because the one Valve made, which is like Deadwood or something like that, is just a really fun game. It's like a really intense, fun PvP game to play, right? So
Um,
people
was
really enjoy
they
it.
they
Well,
made whatever Deadlock or some shit, right?
Deadlock, yeah, which changes the formula. Like I know
Not
you don't
Val.
like
I
it
don't
because
know.
no, it was Valve. It was Valve. They because they just made a
Hmm.
multiplayer. Hi, Duber. You're a good dog. They made a multiplayer game that like it changes up the formula, right? Like you said, it's like it's like they took a hero shooter and Dota 2 and
Yeah.
mashed it together, and this is what you got, right? And that's at least that's something different. Conquer didn't try to do any of that. It was just like, oh, and we have like zip lines your characters can travel through, like to add like and it's just all dumb dorky stuff that nobody really cares about. So and that's why Conquered failed. And because again, like it's like took 10 years to make a response to
Yeah.
Overwatch, which is I'll have more to say to Veilguard after we're probably done on after this. I'm sure that was a good little padding for the
Well,
podcast.
if you
Okay.
if you ask the internet, Concord failed because it was too woke.
I don't know about that. I think it failed because it just didn't do anything different. You know, Like people are saying Veilguard is flopping, and it didn't flop. Like it
Yeah,
had
I
it
don't.
sold it sold it sold a lot of copies, right? Veilguard did sell, and like that whole narrative is like it's weird because you see it's like Asmongold got pulled into the bro manosphere where he hates on things for not being masculine enough now, right? And he's just like saying things out. Like I used to really like Asmongold a lot, right? He was like kind of a WoW gamer you could kind of attach onto because he didn't have like the perfect WoW experience like he did, right? Where you just like got really recognized on your server in a very early point of the game when you were a kid because your parents just let you play all the time. And then he went to community college, didn't have a job, and all he did was just go to community college and play WoW like all the time. So, and he has like a bunch of screenshots from like his history of playing WoW, and I think that's why he got really popular. But then I don't know, he just went in the manosphere and started bashing on shit. Like Veilguard didn't sell bad at all. Like I don't know the exact figures, but I've seen a lot of my friends playing it, so I know at least a couple people bought it. That's the thing. Like people really love Dragon Age, so there's that hardcore group of fan bases, and then there's people just want to check out a new RPG or whatever, because it's really easy to jump into Veilguard. But yeah, man, video games. Conquered.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know about Conquered
video
being woke.
games.
I didn't play Conquered or anything like that. I don't know about it being woke though. I just don't think things flop because they're too woke. I think the things flop because they're boring and they don't innovate on the formula in any way. Like you're just playing an Overwatch shooter 10 years later. What's the point? To do that when there are better Overwatch clones.
Yeah, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know. Speaking of TV shows though that are mildly disappointing, um, how are you feeling about season 3 of What If coming out in December?
I'm gonna watch it and hopefully they'll like I showed you that one video, right? I know about it coming out, like Storm with Mjolnir sounds pretty fucking badass. I'm sure that's a thing that's in comics, maybe not, I don't know. Is that a thing in comics? Is there like ever like a storm thunder
Um,
god storm kind of thing where like there's been female Thor, so is there like Storm Thor? I don't know, like
yeah, kind
it's just
of, but Storm's
mm,
already more or less a goddess, and
mm,
I don't really like the ideas are so boring to me. Like, What If was always more interesting comic book wise because there were like just actual interesting ideas. This is just like okay, this is like Tales of the Multiverse, not really What If, you know.
mm,
And
yeah.
that's how it feels to me, at least. But anyway, um, here's
So
news
yeah,
that's not really news. There will be a
okay,
oh, ooh, 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 yep.
no.
there's
That's
like a
not it.
little delay between when I talk and when you hear it, but like I think I hear you in real time,
No,
or
I think
maybe I'm hearing you delayed.
yeah, because your mouth looks pretty synced up to what you're saying, and like on the green flashing thing. So maybe it's me or something. I don't know. My uncle is working from home today, so he could be using up a lot of the bandwidth. If that's a thing. I don't know. But I'm hardwired in, so I don't know why. It's and he's probably on Wi-Fi. He's probably not hot wired. So I don't know why that would be a thing. Um,
It's usually only a thing if Discord is like not fully updated because their Discord's kind of shit, you know.
mhm, mhm.
So,
Yep.
but anyway, on the news that isn't really news front, apparently HBO has confirmed they're gonna make a Game of Thrones movie. And nobody they said they're gonna think of some ideas of what it should be about, but they don't. That's it. That's the whole story.
Mm.
That's it.
Oh, well.
It's nothing. Anyway, um, yeah, a bunch of Marvel movies that they announced that never happened. Yeah, nobody cares. We already know all that. Okay.
Mm.
And then more news that is kind of news. So they have like that animated Tomb Raider TV show on Netflix now. I watched like the first episode. It was okay.
Mm.
But Haley Atwell is voicing Lara Croft, and she also played Agent Carter in all the Marvel stuff.
Mm.
And so they're gonna make a live action TV show, and everybody's like, "Oh, she should be the live action version," and she's not going to be. The live action version will be Sophie Turner, aka Sansa Stark, aka um, Jean Grey in the newer X-Men movies.
Mm. Cool.
How do you, how do you feel about that on the real
I have
realio?
no strong feelings one way or the other. That's just how I
Same.
am
Anyway,
sometimes.
okay.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's news, but it's not really news. Like, oh, this person is gonna be portraying this person in a movie. Wow, that sounds like something actors do. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
I would,
Yeah. All right. So, the penguin, the
the penguin.
penguino.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So the first two episodes are what we're gonna talk about. I know you're further than that, so you might like, maybe some stuff that I don't know. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But there will be spoilers, so people who haven't watched it yet, spoilerinos incoming.
Mm.
Um, anyway, yeah. It's really good. It's really good, and it's nowhere near really like a superhero TV show.
Yeah.
It is more or less like a mob boss crime family TV show. And it reminds me a lot of the 2015, no, 2016, 2017, one of those years. There was a run on Catwoman where Selena Kyle essentially is trying to become, trying to fill a void and become one of the crime leaders in Gotham. And to me, it's very reminiscent of that in a lot of ways, because that seems to be what Oswald Cobblepot is trying to do as well.
Yeah. Definitely. It seems like the penguin. This is the story of the penguin, like taking over, um, and like just being a baller.
Or at least trying to.
And I'm trying to. Yeah, he gets beat up a lot for sure. There's a lot of losses going on for sure. There's no doubt about that one.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's just it's a great,
Um,
it's a great
the
show
other,
because oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the other thing that's omnipresent in this show is Sophia Falcone, um, who I think is a fan favorite character despite her very very short comic book history. I'll
Mm.
let you talk more before I explain whatever her history is.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of episodes out of the one two that you've watched where it just builds on her, and yeah, she is absolutely a fan favorite. And like if you look on Instagram, the penguin, right, on the Discord on the gifs, you'll see that there's the penguin, and then there's Sophia Volcano reaction gifs. So she's obviously very popular. That's a really good way to check and see popular with people like myself who are gamers. The vast majority of gamers use Discord now. It's almost like the gamer like hive. Um, so she's just a popular character, and it's not because she is a little bit sexualized, but also it's because she's just like fucking like psycho and like the ways people like. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, she's pretty crazy. But yeah, essentially, she doesn't have a very long comic book history. She does eventually become Hangman, who there's a she takes over the mantle. I think it was from her brother. She ends up killing her brother.
mm,
Whereas in this show, I mean, it's Penguin who kills her brother, which leads to a whole bunch of, well, it's really the driving force of the plot of the show so far.
mm,
Um, and then a task force and Gotham is assigned to track down Hangman and capture whoever Hangman is. And so then she starts hanging the members of that task force and killing
no,
them. And then eventually she's shot in the head by Two-Face.
nice.
That's her whole history in comic books,
But,
really.
well,
She
really
first came
using
out in like the late '90s.
yeah, they're really using her up here for sure. There's no doubt about that one. It's pretty good. Um, so
Yeah. And also the setting of the show is obviously after the Batman, after the city's been flooded and it's kind of Carmine's dead, and so there's this vacancy
power
of
vacuum.
power. So
Yeah.
everybody's trying to, yeah, everybody's trying to seize that, including Oswald, who technically works for the Falcons, and he used to be Carmine's kind of right hand man, not really, but and now he feels like he's not being respected, so he's pitting the Maronis against the Falcons and all
Mm,
this stuff, and he's trying to be very clever about it. But he's also at the same time just trying to survive
mm,
and thrive at the same time.
yep. Yep. Do both those things.
But
He's just building his empire.
we're certainly trying.
Yeah.
But and the show is very like I think it is intentional, but it feels unintentional. Like it's just like funny in a lot of ways. Like Oswald is just a funny character. Um, just the way he talks and moves and the things he says and is
Yeah.
is very interesting.
Yeah, we can talk about this, I think, when you've watched more episodes. Um, but like, yeah, he really like sticks out kind of like a sore thumb in the middle of everything, right? I think that's either intentional because he's like he's supposed to be a Batman villain. But I think you'll notice it more as like the show goes on, how he's just like, it's like Colin Farrell, it's like he just goes in this like, it's like the direction is okay, just go into this scene and like be the Penguin. That's like that feels like what was going on here.
Yeah,
Just like his like acting director was like, okay, just go on there and like just go like full penguin and then just leave. Like he's always like, cause the penguin is always on. It's never off. Like
yeah,
always.
yeah. Yeah, and Colin Farrell's doing a phenomenal job as well. He's got to go to
Mm,
Wake.
mm.
They got that very
Yeah, if you
Chicago slash East Coast accent.
yeah, and if you like watch things from the previous times, you'll see like if you watch like the behind the scenes stuff, like how much work went into like him like getting like so he's in a whole suit, right? And he's got like face cosmetics on and everything like that. And I remember this, they were talking about like how they had to have like a tent around because they were filming in New York in the summer. They had to have like a tent for him with like three air cool, like the air coolers they can push around, like set up so we can go sit in it between
Yeah,
takes, which is like it's very takes like, okay, we need to reset the scene so we can do it again. Get those guys back over there, get these guys over here, but to get this prop back over here, it takes like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, maybe five, like everyone's fast. So he just goes and he just sits in there and he cools off like between takes because wearing the suit is so intense. And like, man, people that wear those like monster suits and all this
yeah,
kind of stuff are like some of the hardest workers in the movie industry, right? Like that dude that did Godzilla, he almost like drowned twice in the suit. Like the original Godzilla, like he almost drowned twice in that suit. Like he was in it for hours. Like, but he just loved it, and it's a whole art being like a
Yeah.
costume character actor, not just being a character actor, but getting all of the foundation and all of the cosmetics like applied, like the thick plastic shit. So it's just
Yeah, it
good
takes
stuff.
hours as well, like just to put it
Mm,
on. So,
yeah.
um, but yeah, no, it's a very entertaining show so far, and like it's a lot of character work. Obviously there's violence and there's action here and there, but it's really
Mm,
more about like the intricacies of the characters and the penguin in particular trying to manipulate people, and find a way to come out on top.
mm, yep.
And to the point where he's almost more of a, it feels like he's more or less right now the protagonist of the show, because everything's from his point of view more or less, and we see how he's treated by these higher ups and whatever, well, even the especially the Falcones, but also the Maronis. And so you kind of you know empathize a little bit with old Oz, but rest assured that he is a fucking scumbag, and I'm sure that will all be revealed
He's
in
yeah,
time.
he's a villain. He's
Yeah,
absolutely a villain. There's
and
no
that's
there's no doubt
the
about
real
that
thing
one.
is all these. Yeah, all these characters are like there's no character in this show where you go, oh yeah, that's a good guy, other than maybe what is it, Vic? Is it Vic, the guy who's like that he brought under his wing a little bit?
Yeah, Victor. Yeah,
You kind of feel
is
bad for him a little bit,
Victor.
you know.
Yeah, and then you start to learn more things about Vic, so it's complicated. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Also, if people aren't familiar with the comic book side of the
That's where
Penguin,
he's
he
working.
does have a very unhealthy relationship with his mom, and uh, and it's very prevalent in this show as well.
Hmm. So I think we like talked over each other there for a
Were you
second
creeped out?
because of the lag, but I think it's a lot better now.
Is it? Are we good?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think I'm really delayed for you. I don't know why. That's really strange. All right.
Yeah, I think you are very delayed. I don't know why
Hmm.
either. It's probably because Discord needs to run updates, and that's always how it
Or
is.
some
Discord is fucking
or some
dog shit.
or something.
Yeah. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, what are the things you're liking? Is there anything that in the show that you dislike? Do you find it boring at points? Is it too much character work? Is it not enough action? What do you think?
I think so far everything I've watched I've liked. Again, Colin Farrell's like the Penguin really it's starting to it starts to grate on you almost a little bit, right? Where he's just like acting like the Penguin and like just randomly acting like the Penguin. It just comes out of nowhere, right? It kind of almost ruins the flow of some scenes. Because he's such just a character, but I think that's supposed to be part of it. That's why he becomes like the Penguin boss, like, one of the most powerful crime lords in Gotham eventually, right? That's who the Penguin is, right? Like that's who he eventually becomes. Like right now he's still just Oz. He's not the Penguin yet. Um, so I don't know to the in the comic book lore, like to the extent of like his reach or power or anything like that. I know he's like one of the bigger Batman villains. Like there's like originally then there's the Joker, right? Then under him is like Mr. Freeze because everyone likes the tragedy of Mr. Freeze, right? And I know about him because of just the video games and everything like that. And then after that is the Penguin, and then there's Poison Ivy, and they kind of maybe Poison Ivy is more well known than
Are you saying these are
the
the
Penguin.
popular these are the popular Batman villains?
They seem more popular than like Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, like who knows not a lot of people know who Firefly is and shit like that, right? Or like other things, or like the moth, like the actual Mothman or whatever the fuck, and then
No.
there's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I wouldn't
Two
say
Face,
that Firefly is one of Batman's popular villains.
yeah, Two Face is really popular. I don't see this thing though. I don't consider Catwoman to be a villain anymore. Like I just don't. I think she's more of like an anti-hero. I just think that's her thing. Um, and then I already addressed at the beginning of the statement, like everybody knows like who the Joker is.
Yeah, I mean Joker, Penguin, Riddler, I think are the
Oh, and
top
the
three
Riddler. I forgot
Batman
about the
villains that people
Riddler.
know.
Yeah, I forgot about the
I
Riddler.
would say Mr. Freeze is only popular because of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I know. I think people appreciate the tragedy of Mr. Freeze, like under like low key, like that happened. I think that's like that came across in Batman Beyond and stuff like that too. Like the animated Batman Beyond was very tragic. The Mr. Freeze episode is very very tragic. I think that really stuck with people. Or maybe that's just me being too helpful. I don't know.
Maybe. Um, but yeah, no, Penguin in comics is more. Well, early on, he was more of just like he was a very skilled thief. And
Mm,
he spent a lot of time in prison, really. And he was because he was such a good thief. Yeah, he endeared himself to the mob and whatever. But that's like very early on comic books.
mm,
Um, but the difference with this show and Penguin comic books is obviously like most everything with Penguin and comic books revolves around Batman.
yeah,
So
absolutely. There's no doubt, and there's no doubt about that one.
it's quite different. Um, but yeah, no, like there's not a whole lot of I'm sure at one point, like I haven't read every Batman comic book ever. I'm sure at one point Penguin was trying to become like this major, like running Gotham crime boss. But from what I've read in Penguin comics, he was never really running Gotham, right? Like
No,
it's
or the
Batman's
Gotham Crime Team. Yeah.
rogues, right?
Mm,
Like it's the rogue gallery for Batman, right? It's Joker, it's Penguin, it's Scarecrow, it's Firefly, it's Mad Hatter. Like they're all just trying to cause chaos and issues, and yeah, but it's what they're doing with the TV show is gonna always have to be much more interesting than just I'm a guy obsessed with birds and high tech umbrellas that become machine guns.
mm, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
kinda.
also like if you read if you like just if you just scroll through the history of the Penguin, it's every other paragraph you'll read will say when he got out of prison because he's always in prison because he's a
Mm,
Batman villain, and
yeah,
Batman sends a
exactly.
lot of villains to prison a lot.
All the time. Yep. Yep.
So um, I'm trying to think if there's anything significant really from the first two episodes to like you know to put your hat on to be like we should talk about this. Um,
But it's
Would
all just set up,
there's not a whole
for.
bunch. It's really
Yeah, I think there's a huge. I think there's a
go
huge.
on.
I think there's like a huge delay or something like that. Sorry, or are you just trying to let me talk? Like, I just don't think there's a whole lot in this two episodes. It's like really because there's
There
like
is
a
a
lot.
delay.
Okay, but I think there's like a lot to talk about, and there's also just a little at the same time. Does that make sense? Like it's just this is the Penguin, like the crime boss is there are a lot of there's like a power vacuum, and he did something really stupid in the opening sequence at episode one. Spoilers, when he shoots like basically the guy who's supposed to inherit the whole crime family, like because he's like got pissed off because the penguin because he was
Yeah,
like insulting
Alfonso.
the penguin, and he couldn't like the penguin just couldn't emotionally handle it, so he shot him like to death, and then he like recruited some dumb kid to help him hide the body, and and it's just him like trauma dumping to this kid essentially. um and you'll learn eventually like why the kid follows the penguin around a lot.
Well,
And
yeah. I mean, I think they've hinted at it a bit too. Like he was in a part of Gotham that was hit majorly by the flooding caused by the Riddler. So
yeah,
I'm sure he has pretty much lost everything.
yeah,
Um,
like like
and
literally everything.
uh,
So like and like that's the thing. Like I think the penguin realized that as soon as he like read his ID, he was like, oh, this kid's like from one of those because he knows his city, right? The penguin like knows like that was like the part of
yeah,
town where he like sold drugs and shit. So yeah,
right. And then I mean also Yeah, there's a lot that you could read into just Penguin losing his cool and shooting Alfonso as well. Like his he has no real, you know, there's something psychological there, something deeper psychologically there, um,
Mm,
and really his the way you it's his entire worldview that you kind of get from Penguin and the way he conducts himself through everything, and it's part of like this mentality of being in a mob as well as like when people disrespect you, like you can't just let them get away with it, but also um, I think Alfonso was hitting very, very close to home with what he was saying to the Penguin about like what it is he really wants and
yeah, Alfonso's a
kind
very
of things
interesting
like that.
character.
So
Alfonso's a very interesting character. Like he's built up later in the series, like as the person in the background, and everyone always talks about him. But like, and it's just weird how much the 50-50 of it is like, okay, he's this useless he's this useless dum dum that like that's just drinking and partying all the time. And the other times like he was actually like a tactical genius making moves in the shadow against his father like 24/7. Like it's like both. And I really
mm,
enjoyed that.
yeah, and then the other like major thing is Penguin obviously having digging up dirt on higher ups in the the Falcone family,
Mm,
and trying to blackmail, and then having to you can see that he's not just like some dumb guy overextending his hand. Like he's able to adjust quickly. Like he
mm,
wanted to take down one of the guys, but because they couldn't plant the jewels, he had to pivot and take down Sophia's like bodyguard or whatever, and plant the knife on him. So like he's the one who's been
yep,
betraying you guys, and he stole the gems or whatever.
yep,
So, and I'm sure it'll come around to VD or whatever the fucking other guy's name is at some point. But yeah, there's a lot to enjoy, and yeah, I can't wait to watch more.
yep. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Like it's only gonna keep getting better. Like that's what I keep getting so far. Like it only just does keep getting better. Um, I told Rio about it because like I told her because like during the pandemic, Rio and I watched all of The Sopranos, like basically the whole series all the way through, which is fantastic. Sopranos is fucking awesome. I was never introduced to The Sopranos, but then I watched it and was like, damn, dude, this is like one of the greatest shows I've ever watched. Like it's, like you said, it's got that thinly veiled allegory, and sometimes it got really, really fucking just really deep storytelling, right? Where things are just buried and you're lost in the drama of the family dynamics and the crime dynamics and like this and then that and the who's talking to the feds and who isn't, all that kind of shit. And it's really good and then has lots to say about just modern American life in general. Uh, so it's just
But did you hate the
and
ending?
no, because I, as a storyteller, know that it's really hard to end a good thing. Do you understand? Kind of understand that? Like I feel like they could have ended it in certain ways that would have made everybody mad, and like, or they could have just left it open ended, so at least everyone could just have their own personal ending. I think that's kind of the option they went with, and I feel like that's too smart for the general American public, and it all went over their head. What do you think of that?
Maybe,
Uh-huh.
maybe. I don't know. I didn't watch it. But what about The Godfather? Is Penguin similar to The Godfather? I've never watched Godfather. Have you watched it?
Um, in some ways it is, in some ways it isn't. Yeah, I did watch The Godfather. I haven't watched Godfather 2 or anything like that. Um, But yeah, I heard I just, again, I've just heard a lot of people comparing it to The Sopranos, and I would agree as far as so far that it's a lot much more comparable to The Sopranos than it is to The Godfather, for sure. Like, just in general, how the dynamics all play out and everything like that,
Yeah,
you know?
makes sense. Well, I don't have much more to say, and the lag I think is killing us. So we'll come
Oh,
back next week with more episodes of The Penguin to talk about. What do you think of that?
yeah, for sure. Me and Rio are burning through the series, so we'll probably watch the whole thing by the time we talk next time. So if you just want to do that, because it's 8 episodes, 40 minutes, and I saw that the finale was an hour and 10, which is always a good sign. It means like, okay, we're gonna do the finale. We're gonna do as much time, take as much time as we need to wrap it up, right? That's what that means. And always like, it's just funny, like Andor, right? Andor was probably one of the most popular pieces of Star Wars media that's come out in a long time, right? and the Penguin is slowly starting to
Yeah,
become
they
one of the
released
most
a bunch of
popular pieces.
images for season 2.
Yeah, it looks great, and the Penguin is arguably one of the most popular pieces of DC media outside of the animated run of like Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2, which came out last year. And if they ever release those in theaters, by the way, I'm happy to go up there and see it with you. Because Crisis on Infinite Earths is fucking awesome, right? So the Penguin has just become really
Yeah, but
popular, right?
remember
Mhm.
when they did the Killing Joke and we saw it in
Because
theaters?
there's and it was bad. It was like super bad because like is they just turned Batwoman into like a sex object essentially. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember. Okay.
Mm.
Anyway, we'll wrap up there, guys. Thank you, everyone, tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Like, comment, rate, review, subscribe. Bye bye. See you next time. Peace out.
Peace.